Welcome back. In death, she looms larger than life, at least on television. I'm talking about Vicki Hogan, who called herself Anna Nicole Smith.
First it was a battle over her baby, now it is a battle over her body.
Another twist in the week-old drama over the death of Anna Nicole Smith. Yes, it's another twist. Now her boyfriend and mother are in a fight to the finish over the body.
What do you make of all that? She doesn't trust your brother at all.
My brother loves Danny Lynn.
This is where things really get dysfunctional. Her mother wants her body. Her lawyer wants her body. No one can agree.
The half-sister, Anna Nicole's half-sister, is now claiming that there's the potential that she may have frozen J. Howard Marshall, her second husband's sperm.
The third reason, and it's the most important reason, is that she has big breasts.
Joining us now to sift through this wreckage and examine the presidential campaign coverage as well, in Springfield, Massachusetts, Rachel Maddow, host of The Rachel Maddow Show on Air America Radio.
Hi.
And in Seattle, Michael Medved, host of The Michael Medved Show on the Salem Radio Network. Michael Medved, is this sheer exploitation, this Anna Nicole story on the part of television, or is there some deep American fascination with this woman's tabloid life?
No, there's a deep American fascination, and it's not just American, it's timeless. I mean, you can go back in history, and I try to make the case, make this case with my listeners. You can go back in history and find parallel kinds of fascinations in the 19th century, 18th century. At the turn of the century, the last century, there was a great national fascination with Evelyn Nesbit, who, like Anna Nicole, was basically notable only because of her physical attractiveness and because she was involved in sleazy affairs, one of which led to a big murder by her then husband of her former lover, Stanford White. And that was a huge national obsession back then when America was supposed to be solid and full of decent values. Look, this is as timeless as it could be. If Aeschylus was around today, if Shakespeare was around today, they might be writing about Anna Nicole. I'm not trying to suggest that she's a classy figure, but just that she deals with timeless kinds of passions.
Well, Rachel Maddow, I would quarrel with the notion that this is a deep obsession, because there's a new Pew poll that says 61% of those surveyed say the story is being overcovered, but 11% say they're following it very closely, and cable television, this is not much of a newspaper story, cable TV is catering to that 11%.
That's right. People are not proud to say that they're following this story. It's one of those things like, you know, around political season they always say, oh, I don't like negative ads. But just like the ratings reflect an interest in Anna Nicole Smith that we may not be willing to admit to, I think that negative ads show over and over again that they have a real effect on voters. I want to differ with Michael in that I hope that Aeschylus and Shakespeare would be writing about the Iraq War and not about Anna Nicole. But I mean, I don't think there's any shame in being interested in this.
Well, they can't be reached for comment. But Rachel, how much of this is so television, and I want to avoid doing it here, just can keep showing those pictures of her spilling out of her dress. The New York Post ran some pictures of her in a bed with the immigration minister of the Bahamas. A question about whether she used her relationship with this guy to get residency there. How much of this is about the pictures? If you ban pictures from television, would the coverage of this story go down?
I think it would go down. Obviously, a lot of what this is about is what Anna Nicole was famous for, which is what she looked like. At the same time, I think that we've always been fascinated with scandal and celebrity. We don't have royals. We have celebrities. We have pretty people. And we follow their exploits. We always have. The question is, the real ethical question is, how much time news agencies want to devote to this and want to cater to those ratings they know they'll get.
And on that point, Michael Medved, MSNBC and Fox News on Thursday, I believe, broke away from a speech that President Bush was giving on Afghanistan and the need to send more troops there and get NATO allies involved to cover another Anna Nicole hearing. Is this what cable television has come to?
Well, it is, and it's what cable television has always been specializing in. I mean, we've had one obsession after another. You may remember that America stopped. I think they cut away during a State of the Union speech from Clinton for the O.J. verdict. And this is just one of those things that is deeply, deeply fascinating to people. One of the reasons for it, it seems to me, Howard, is that people look at Anna Nicole and they can feel, you can't feel superior to many people in the news. But Anna Nicole's life is so unbelievably tacky with 5 different candidates as the father of her child. I think it reassures people about their own shortcomings.
Right, and CNN hardly exempt from this orgy of coverage. I'll give the last word to George Lipper of Las Vegas. He emailed us, Anna Nicole Smith coverage gives new meaning to the term boob tube. Oh. Let me move on to Mitt Romney, the former Massachusetts governor who declared his presidential candidacy this week. And I want to ask a question. First, I want to play some of the coverage of the former governor.
His biggest hurdle, though, may be Romney's religion. He's Mormon, and a recent poll found about half of Americans had at least some reservations about a Mormon candidate.
Will Americans vote for a Mormon candidate?
Will a Latter-day Saint go marching into the White House? A new candidate raises the question, is America ready for a Mormon president?
Michael Medved, I can't imagine reporters saying without comment, well, the polls show that America may not be ready for a Jewish president. But everybody seems perfectly willing to make this Mormon religion of Romney's an issue.
It's terribly unfair. And the one thing that's striking to me about it, Howard, is that in 1968, Mitt Romney's father, George Romney, ran for president. He was an equally devout Mormon. He was the governor of Michigan. And there was not this same kind of focus on his religious background. He was treated as a serious candidate. The thing that I think is of great concern is that this really does seem to be having an impact on the launch of Romney's campaign. It has not gone quite as well as people had hoped it would within that campaign. And I think part of it has to do with they're treating his candidacy as if it were a referendum on Mormonism, and that's a terrible thing.
Rachel Maddow, it seems to me that we have only sort of room for two facts about Mitt Romney. He's a Mormon, and he changed his stance on abortion and gay rights from where it was 10 years ago. Both true, both relevant, but perhaps, being trumpeted to the exclusion of just about everything else.
Well, I think that to say that this is a media problem is a little bit of a cop-out. We have never had a president in this country who was not a white Christian male. If you're not white, or you're not a Christian, or you're not a male, that is going to be a major factor in your candidacy. And we can wish that it wasn't so, but it absolutely is.
But look at the difference. Look at the difference between the way Hillary Clinton, the first potential woman president, is described, the way Barack Obama, the first potential black president, is described, and Mitt Romney. Can a Mormon be elected president? It just seems to me there's a real difference in the tone here.
I don't think so at all. I've been booked about 9 times in the last few weeks to talk about Barack Obama's candidacy. Every single time the question has been, is he black enough, or something about exactly how black he is. With Romney, he does have a challenge on his religion. That's just a fact. We wish it wasn't true, but it is true. And he's going to have to be a very strong candidate in order to overcome that. It's not impossible that a Mormon could be elected president, but it will be a factor. His candidacy so far has been fairly weak. I mean, he left the State House in Massachusetts. He's my governor as the 3rd most hated governor in the state. His hand-picked successor lost in a landslide. We don't know if he's from Utah or Massachusetts or from Michigan. I mean, his campaign is not strong enough.
Let me move on. And as far as his campaign, it's about a week old, so I'm going to give him at least another week before I make a pronouncement.
Good.
Now, the